Ladies and gentlemen, we are now gathered to induct the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame certainly has blazed his own trail, but very well may blaze an entirely new trail for Sportswire Radio. And I'm going to tell you why. Because our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, in addition to being arguably the youngest Hall of Famer in the history of any Hall of Fame, doesn't matter whether it's sports, wrestling, who knows what other Hall of Fames are out there, is arguably the youngest Rumble winner in history and the youngest VTW reunion Rumble winner in history because he just won a few short weeks ago the 2024 versus the World Wrestling Reunion Rumble, which gives him the opportunity to cash in for a championship match of his choosing at any given time. But certainly those are reasons that would put one in any Hall of Fame, and especially the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. But our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, I truly believe the future is now with him. Because when I've looked at his career and looked at his journey since I've gotten a chance to know him more than 7 months ago, he is certainly worthy of not only this Hall of Fame, but I am sure being a 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll lose count on the amount of Hall of Fames that he will wind up being in. You've seen him as an institution in dominant breakout wrestling. You have now seen him in versus the world wrestling. And he has literally grown up before our very eyes. But he's got far more growing up to do. In his short career, he has already been a world champion. He's already held multiple other singles championships. He was even the 2023 Dominant Breakout Wrestling Match of the Year alongside somebody that he calls his dad. Well, at least in this case, he one-ups his dear old dad because he got in to the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame before the Prophet of Purgatory himself, Mr. Judgment. In addition to that, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame was also a part of the 2023 DBW contract signing of the year. And that spans a whole slew of contracts, a whole span of shows that have taken place in DBW. And he won that. But when I think about his career in a short amount of time, the who's who of wrestlers he has wrestled, whether it's been in DBW, VTW, the likes of Brandon Castelli, already in our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Although when it comes to Brandon Castelli, I'm not sure what I should refer to him at this point, so I'm going to do my own Madonna and say we'll just call him Brandon Castelli, because one day he might be a sneaky Pete, some would say. Some other days he might be a mauler. Some other days he might rock hard, but we'll call him Brandon Castelli. Then there's a guy he certainly had some wars with, a guy that, well, interestingly enough, was in the VTW Reunion Rumble, but left quicker than a New York Minute in the Bitcoin billionaire, Chase Wakefield. Our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame has also had some wars with another member of our Hall of Fame and the It Factor Cyrus, and certainly in places like VTW. I am very curious to see what the future will be. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, when I think about the newest member of our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and I think back to his most recent victory here, winning the VTW Reunion Rumble, and I think about his head bowing it down and looking at that contract he has to give himself a championship shot of any of his choosing, I think, well, certainly some would say, and even those on the telecast, that it was maybe the kid's dream or the kid growing up or the boyhood dream, as some used to famously say, for another wrestler, kind of, in his stature. I happen to think, despite all of that, we are watching greatness before our very eyes. I won't mention who when I speak about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. but a very well-established wrestler in our scene who many people would respect, including our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, had asked me, pound for pound, who is the best wrestler, quote unquote, in the underground, the yard, semi pro, or even the independents. And I proudly proclaimed it was our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And I also said that our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame will probably within 5 years from now will be somebody that will remember, not just in Kings and Queens magazine as a highly ranked wrestler, but maybe even in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated 500. And I think about him alongside the likes of one of our dearest friends on Sportswire Radio, who is ranked this year in the PWI 500, in Vito Fratelli, who had only wrestled this past year on 2 occasions, the then MLW champion of the world in Alexander Hammerstone. That's how highly I think of our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And after all, he'll wind up being so big, and he probably will have such an ego. After all, he is a part of Ego in DBW, that he may never remember us again. But, through it all, and throughout all those accomplishments, all the championships, all the 5-star matches, if there's such a thing in this sport, depending on how you view Meltzer or this other guy now, Cooper Dragon, I don't even know how you say it, but if you're on TikTok, you know who I'm talking about. I truly believe, though, that our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame is already greatness in front of our eyes. But also, most importantly, he's greatness in how he conducts himself outside the ring. In many ways, I think about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame kind of like our Derek Jeter of underground and semi-pro wrestling in terms of how he conducts himself, the professionalism, the respect, and also how he treats everybody around him in his life on a day-in and day basis. And I think in many ways, ladies and gentlemen, that also is what makes somebody a Hall of Famer. And yes, I've gone on and on and on about his accomplishments, and I don't even think I scratched the surface of those accomplishments. But ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on and on about our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. But I'll sum him up in one quote that was famously said during the telecast of him winning the VTW Reunion Rumble and arguably being the youngest Rumble winner. The future is now. No longer is our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame some underdog, some kid, some would say a boy in a man's world. He's none of that now. He has grown up before our very eyes, and he is now a part of history. And I am very proud to have made history tonight on Sportswire Radio in inducting the youngest member, at least from what I can tell, of any Hall of Fame in our Hall of Fame. But before I officially congratulate the newest member of our Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, our 7th member of our 5th class, and our 47th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, and also to point out one more time, he actually got in there before his own dear old dad. So hopefully it doesn't mean too much of a prophet of purgatory or mortal filth bags will come after us here tonight. But we'll forget about all that. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to officially congratulate, as I've stated, the 47th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, our 5th member in the 7th class, the 7th member of the 5th class. I have said too much. You can clearly tell, ladies and gentlemen. The Blaze Ace Christian. But before the Blaze Ace Christian, I officially welcome you into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame as your master of ceremonies, as some of the names you have shared a locker room with, whether it's the likes of the Bitcoin billionaire, Chase Wakefield, the It Factor Cyrus, the global champion in DBW, or the man I just simply call Brandon Castelli. You must get that introduction that you've gotten, so many of your other colleagues have gotten. So let's get right to it and let's make history. So with that, Sports Report. Number one global sports show, the 2024 Versus the World Reunion Rumble winner, the 2023 DBW Match of the Year recipient, and also the Contract Signing of the Year recipient, our 7th member of our 5th class and the 47th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Simply put, his name is the Blaze Ace Christian. My friend, welcome officially to the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame.
Hold on a second. Woo! Mount getting dry from all them accolades you've been talking about. You know what I mean?
I gotta be honest to Blaze Ace Christian. Usually, lately, the past, I want to say 10 or so inductions we've done on sports, but I have this long speech planned out, and I work on them for hours at a time. But funny enough, I only thought about it in my head. I usually read from it looks like a chicken scratch handwriting of mine, but this one was actually just literally off the top of my head, and I didn't even prepare. I didn't plan. I actually think that this was one of the best ones I've done. I mean, we did one, obviously, God rest his soul, and for Colory Championship Wrestling overseas, Mr. Carnage, Sean Duffy. We did one for Danny Burns, who had played in the NCAA Final Four in basketball. But this one, I got to be honest, the Blaze Ace Christian, maybe it's because of the magnitude and the historic moment here tonight that we're inducting arguably the youngest Hall of Famer of any Hall of Fame, and also maybe the youngest Rumble winner in history. I kind of just said, you know what? We're just going to go with it and roll with it with the tongue, and whatever comes out, it comes out. And I think this was pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
I loved it. I mean, whether you scripted it or you freeballed
No, that was literally this one. I got to be honest. Like I said, maybe the last dozen or so, I kind of sit there and I'm writing carry the 1, carry the 2. I'm writing crossing out. It was like this one. It's like I just did it. I didn't even know. And my day today wasn't like usually I go sit and prepare this for hours. I didn't do that today. That's like I'm like this was really one of the best ones I've done, to be totally honest.
So here's the thing. What I was about to say was whether you scripted it or not, you probably wouldn't have even needed to script it because of how many accolades I have and what all you can say about me off the top of your head. That's how much I'm memorable. That's how much I can be in someone's head like that. But I will say, what you said about me being the top PWI 500 and all that stuff. No one's ever told me that.
You know what? I know Kings and Queens magazine has been a big deal for some of us the past few months. And obviously, he had a history in the past, but I really, I mean, it's to be debated. I mean, Chase Wakefield would praise it though, because he got a great ranking in there. But I do feel that in a lot of ways, I wanted to put that in about the PWI 500 because obviously a friend of mine is a guy, Vito Fratelli, who's been in there. He wrestled Alexander Hammerstone, who wrestled also Josh Alexander this year, the Walking Weapon. But in a lot of ways, I really think wins and losses don't mean anything with you. Now, we're going to certainly get to the wins and losses, but the big win most recently. But in terms of what you bring to the table already at such a young age, to me, it's a matter of time before you actually do get in to the PWI 500 and forget about little old me and the rest of us here tonight.
Dude, like I said, no one's ever told me that, so I'm not gonna forget it. And you inducted me into this Hall of Fame is truly an honor. You know what I mean? Never been happened to me before. Never been appreciated like that before. With all the compliments, all that stuff you've been saying, and
I think outside the ring, how you've conducted yourself, to me, that's the most, because you've always been really a professional, and I really do believe that you are kind of like our Derek Jeter of the underground, the semi-pro, or the independent. I don't even know what you want to call it at this point. I just call it everything in between. All wrestling matters, and you are such a professional. You are really wise behind your, beyond your years. I mean, I'm not even wise behind the back of my ears. Yet you are like just such a gentleman. We speak all the time. You post different things on Facebook, and you're always, trying to, give people something to look to. And I think that that's to me also is a part of the Hall of Fame. How you conduct yourself. And I think that you have been really the model of professionalism. And whoever your parents might be, I think we might know one parent. They should be really proud, because I can tell you, my parents, well, at least one of them is still around, is not as, certainly proud of my, manners. And you certainly, outside the ring, I just want to say, conduct yourself the true definition of a professional, which what Derek Jeter was when he played for the New York Yankees.
Well, I might be too young or whatever, but I don't know who that is. But I'm sure it's a
No, he was,
compliment.
he played for the New York Yankees back in the last decade, in the 2000s. He won, like you, a lot of things. He won 5 World Series, and he was like just a model player, just a true professional in a sports world that's kind of crazy, and the wrestling world is kind of crazy too. And I think that that's who you are to me. So just, congratulations.
Well, thank you first of all. But I've been starting to do those videos recently because I would check in on my peers like every so often, like once every 2 weeks, just to check up on them because you never know who really needs it.
Yeah.
Because there was this one time I went to a show in North Carolina, VW,
Yep.
and I learned a lot about this past like in 2023. I was an outsider at the start of the year because I only just started going there. But after this win I just got, it proved that I'm not just an outsider. I'm a true VTW guy. But we'll talk about that eventually.
Well, we're going
But
to talk a
that,
lot about VTW today. I got a lot to say on VTW, so I'm
but
excited about that.
but like ever since that, I forget which show it was, or like which taping or recording or weekend it was, but I learned a lot personally about a lot of the guys down there, and it really hit me because that just opened my eyes to like what people go through personally and like behind the scenes. And I know a lot of people that have went through that stuff up where I live and everything like that, but it's just like it's almost like normal. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm starting to learn more as I get older and all that stuff. But I feel like another thing too with the videos that I've been posting is like I've went to the gym a lot more recently, and that has also like it's brought me lessons. You know what I mean? Like between like achieving your goals in the gym and achieving your goals outside of the gym, it's two different things, but
Sure.
it's this you can apply it to real life. So it's that's really opened my eyes as well. But it's just I'm glad that I'm trying to help people, and I'll still keep texting people and keeping
No,
up
it's
with
it's a big
everybody.
thing. There's, if I could say that, there's a lot of people who want to talk to you. I'm going to come back to them in a second. Please be patient for a second. We do a lot of coverage overseas, and there's a company that we do work with, obviously, Colory Championship Wrestling. And I had conversely a very sad induction speech for somebody that had passed away, Mr. Carnage, Sean Duffy. And we a lot the big issue there is mental health. It's a big deal in the world of wrestling, maybe life in general. And I think that you never know, by doing what you're doing, you might really make a difference in somebody's life. And I think that that really speaks that you could make a difference when you don't know. You never know in people. I always go back to, Robin Williams' death, a few years back, the late, great comedian. And, you didn't know what he was going through. You don't know what people are going through. You guys are, obviously tremendous athletes. You obviously are amazing competitors, but, we don't know what's going on in your heads. I mean, we might know that Chase Wakefield is trying to figure out he's Aaron Jones' best friend when Aaron Jones doesn't want to be best friends with Chase Wakefield. But the point is that, you really can make a difference in somebody's day. And I think in a lot of ways, you've done those things. But I have so many people that want to talk to you. So I'm going to hold on to those thoughts and say hello to some people. So let me do that here first. And let us go hello to my buddy, Mr. Michael Christian. Want to give Michael a big shout out because he actually has a Sportswire Radio shirt of mine, because somebody, wink, wink, actually gave him one. So thank you. And he says, hey, Ace of no relation, because he's Michael Christian. You're Ace Christian. He wrestled in XCW not too long ago and actually retired his stepfather, a referee. Kind kind of weird, right? Now you might want to retire your father soon in the ring, but he
Oh
actually did a
yeah.
step. You definitely want to do that. I'm going to certainly come to that, and I want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Ethan Sorensen, and congratulations on the Hall of Fame. I want to say hello to the ROW champion, the good guy, CJ Black, who's doing a great job out there. This kid has talent. I hate it because CJ was just out there also at the IMF King of the Center show, and he wrestled his brother, C Money, and defeated him. And he's just actually defeated a guy probably heard of named Jack Delta, and he's actually defeated him twice now, technically, in the last, I think, 7 weeks, unless he's counting, and maybe I've got the wrong numbers, but I think it's twice in 7 weeks. But how you doing, CJ? And we'll see what the future of ROEW is. Certainly, we'll have to stay tuned. Maybe a new trail could be coming to a platform like this one. Stay tuned. I'm not going to say anything further. How's it going? When I say hello to Kid Mike, I think Kid Mike meant to say, how's it going? Ease it going, but that's okay. I want to say hello to a company. You maybe heard of DBW. Have you heard of him? Being facetious. He's had some of the best matches in the sport. Like I said, I won't tell you who that I spoke with, and they asked me, said, Tom, you watch a lot of wrestling. I said, yes, I do. Who would you think was pound for pound one of the best wrestlers in the scene that you cover? And you know who was it? I don't want to say it was what number it was exactly that you were, but you were, let's just say, in the top two. Let's just put it that way. I said your name, you're in the top two.
Top two, number not two. Top two, not two.
I could tell you if I told you it was one or if I told you it was two, I would be disrespecting the other person that I said. I mean, you want me to tell you who I had? I won't tell you if you were one or two, but you want me to tell you who the other person I had?
Who was it?
The man I'm wearing a shirt of right now, Jack Delta. I have you and Jack Delta basically, right there. And I got CJ Black right there. He's just behind you guys. I think Jack Delta and you are maybe, have had to me just the work I've seen more of in front of me. But, I think that's my one or two is, you or Jack Delta. Flip a coin. Maybe you both want to be tied for first. Would that be all right with you?
I mean, being up there with him, must say a lot about him.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I would think so. But I think it also says a lot about you because you're in the Hall of Fame and he only had a day on his behalf. So how about that? Let's certainly give you a round of applause. Want to say hello to Mr. Mad Dog Dan Moore. He is all but but he will still be the little kid in the locker room. But I don't think you're the little kid anymore because I saw you with the muscles now. You're getting the muscles. No longer like the Chase Wakefield.
Oh, yeah, you can see that. You can see it.
Well, you got a football background, wink, wink. I mean, so you know about going to the gym. You know more like Chase Wakefield. Stop. I'm going to move on here. He's on my list. There you go. How you doing, Mr. Andrew Lovelace? Nice to see you. Good to see people here. I want to say hello to Craven Rage. How you doing, Craven Rage? Craven Rage is the new WC Interstate Champion. I am sure we'll see him on Sportswire in the next week or so. Appreciate the kind words. Michael would like to say, wonderful to meet you. And I retired my stepfather, greatest experience. I mean, you like to retire your father in the ring, but so how art and father, how will be thy name? We'll certainly come back to that. And of course, Michael is from XCW, again, and one of my favorite companies that I hope people check out. I will come back to Ethan on the Rumble because I want to talk about the Rumble in a few minutes. Want to say hello to Infinite Justice. How you doing, Infinite Justice? Nice to see you. You might know him also in the Hall of Fame. I guess once upon a time might have been in DBW, but is obviously going to do different things. Mr. DVG, and he does it almost hourly. I just do this like once a day. Want to say hello to another one of my buddies, obviously another breakout star of the year, man who's going to probably be here back in Sportswire very soon, Mr. Big Tex, one of the best and only getting started. I think somebody reads what I'm saying. Hello there, Mr. or Mrs. versus the World Wrestler. I'm about to say Mr., but there could be a Mrs. also. Could be Mrs. VTW.
I believe it's a Mr.
You believe so?
I like to think that.
And how you doing? Good to see you too, Infinite Justice. I always like to see different people. And I want to say hello to Tyler Aiken. And man, you've got some history with, a lot of history with. And Tyler is obviously a huge part of things in VTW, a little bit of DBW. And yeah, we're doing great. And, congratulations out there, if I could say it to you, wink, wink. But maybe somebody will get to you congratulations. But obviously so nice to see people. In VTW, I cannot praise enough in the product. And, I guess somebody that, you might consider, I mean, are you guys like estranged? Do you guys call yourselves, do you call him dad still? Did you call your son or, I don't know. I know.
At the end of the day, he is my dad. So
Well, okay. Well, you know what? I mean, well, I'm gonna leave it at that. Um, on Reverend's list, I'm like 52, 525,600. That's not true. That's not. He's saying that he's like the 525,000th wrestler. That he's the best one. That's not true. That's highly not true. Unfair. And okay, we're gonna.
I think we. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think we know who's at the bottom of the list. You know.
Oh yeah. Oh, no comment on that. I'm gonna say nothing on that. That's an inside baseball joke.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah, yeah. That's for
somebody
real
might
ones
know that
only.
a couple of other people, but I'm going to leave that at that. I know people want to talk to you, but as I always do. Now we've obviously had this Hall of Fame now for 3 months, and only if you would be so kind, the Blaze Ace Christian, if I could, I would like to present to you something on the air for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire. Yep, there is something, because unlike the Hall of Fame, let's say that WWE has, where, they just let you speak for a few minutes and maybe they let you be on the stage at WrestleMania. It's kind of like you're forgotten, or, the other Hall of Fames out there in the world of sports. We actually like to present those that are in our Hall of Fame with something that shows kind of that they're official members of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. So the Blaze Ace Christian, would you be okay if yours truly would like to present to you something on the air for the audience?
What if I said no?
Well, you could say no. That's why I ask people.
No,
And the
we're
reason
not
I
going to
actually,
that,
and the
man.
reason I
Don't.
actually, I'm gonna make you laugh real quick. The reason I actually kind of play along this because it's a little inside joke. You probably wouldn't remember this, but some people in the chat would. I actually, once upon a time, there was a show called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and the host at the time, Regis Philbin, would ask people, is that your final answer? Are you sure you want to do this? And I actually happened to. I was very fortunate once upon a time in my life to have actually tried out for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And I actually tried out for the show. So the running joke I always have with people is kind of that's where I get some of my, tendencies from. But no, I am not quite a millionaire, but I can quite present to you something if you'd like on the air. So I'm going to do it because I think you basically said, sure, Tom, go ahead. I'm going to kill
Yeah,
you if you don't.
there's no question. You didn't even have to ask, man. Just do it.
I still do it anyway. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? There you have it. It looks like, how about this? You've got my signature, you've got today's date, and you got official proclamation that the Blaze Ace Christian is our 47th member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. You've got my John Hancock. You've got our logo. You got a nice little certificate there that we certainly print them all up. I actually do them all by hand, and I make sure people get something that shows that they are official in history. And then after we're off the air, I will give this to you. And also, I will actually put you in our website on sportswireradio.org for our Hall of Fame section. So we've got a great group of people in the Hall of Fame, the likes of Dean Allmark, who's defeated Jushin Thunder Liger and Brian Danielson, R.P. Davis, who was the only person in the entire country of the United Kingdom and England that has won a major boxing world championship, a wrestling world championship. Luke Leyland, who was the only person ever from Britain to have fought in Dambe in African Warriors Fighting Championships events out there in Nigeria, and a slew of other great talents. And I want to give you this, the Blaze Ace Christian, because you have blazed your own trail, and also being the 2024 VTW Reunion Rumble winner, I believe the youngest Rumble winner of any sort in history, at least as far as I know, and the youngest Hall of Famer of any sort in history. So we wanted to present this to you for the audience at home.
One word is honored. That's all.
Well, you're a lot more humble than when Chase Wakefield got inducted.
Oh, he's a little crybaby still.
Moving on here. I will come back to some questions, but I will come and get this here out from your father, Mr. Judgment, who, of course, is a man that holds many championships, and says, I'm extremely proud of Ace Christian. It's in his blood. It's in his spirit to be the best. It's not a matter of how, but when Ace will be the best. But for now, bow to your prophet. I want to add something else for you, Ace Christian. Your dear old father, Mr. Judgment, he's coming back to Sportswire real soon. And guess what? He's going to be taking his place alongside you in the Hall of Fame the next time he comes onto the platform. And I have a feeling it's going to be real soon.
Wink, wink.
Yep, wink, wink. So yeah, anything you want to say about what dear old daddy had to say about the you there?
Well, key word you said there was old, so I mean, he said, he says before when I'll be the best or whatever the case is. But I can tell you right now, it's his time's coming up soon. His
You
time.
said that last time on the show, though.
Hey, listen. You know his time was then. He's in his prime, pretty much, or was in his prime. But but now I have a feeling things are gonna go downhill for
But
him.
to be fair though, wasn't he in a ring not too long ago with some guy named the Barbarian? I mean, I heard through the birdie grapevine that he was in a ring though with some other names, and he held his own. So maybe he still is in his prime after all.
Well, I mean, that's all good and well, but I was in a ring with 19 other people, but guess who was also in that rumble? Asher Christ.
Oh, that's true. Asher Christ was it, but people seem to like Asher Christ right now in VTW. They seem to
Well,
like him.
yeah, but hey, but at the end of the day, Asher Christ, Mr. Judgment, still my dad. So
And he's Mr. Judgment is also the Enterprise Wrestling the Amplified Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. I'm sorry, and he's also a huge part of other places as well, and that's why he is the Prophet of Purgatory. And I don't want to get on his bad side. You know what? I will come back to some user comments here, some viewer comments, and let's go first to Craven Rage. Although I really will kind of talk about this in a few minutes, but because people do want to ask you comments and questions, and you'll give answers. And what is next, and what is maybe your goals this year, Mr. Ace Christian, without tipping too many hands?
all right, so it's a little tough to be honest because I still got a little bit till I'm 18. But my goal for this year is to just like in wrestling in general is just to market myself. You know what I mean? Like right now, let me count real quick. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have five different places I'm working at right now.
Wow.
As far so like DDW, VTW, um,
Are you in out
Enterprise,
enterprise?
Amplified. I'm also going to be working at RCR as
I was
well at
maybe
some
my
point.
next one. I figured probably
Yeah,
Redemption
I
Championship
wrestled
also.
there once already this year. It's just a lot of booking dates and all that stuff. And then I
It's hard.
also, um, I was at this past Enterprise and Amplified taping,
Oh, yep.
and I met the owner of SSW Superstar Wrestling, and
Yes.
he extended his arm to me whenever I'm 18 because Pennsylvania's stupid.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I cover so many places, and one state's got this law, another state's got this law, and it's like
Yeah,
it's
tell
a
me about
joke.
it.
I mean, it's just these laws
But
are ridiculous.
first day after June 24th, I told him I'm good, so I will be making my appearance there towards the end of the year. So, yep, I got
Mm.
5 places right now, and that's only the start. Everything's going to go up from
I told
here.
you, didn't I say that you're going to be in the PWI 500 within 5 years? Didn't I say it? So,
Maybe
you
even
got to,
three. Maybe even three.
maybe one. I don't know. Well, technically, maybe
I hope
two.
so.
Well, I hope so too. Let me ask you though a side point. I'll say hello to some people in a second. But what will it mean to you though to turn 18? You've done so much in such a short amount of time you've been on this earth. But what will it mean to you to be 18?
I haven't really thought about that one. You asking me personal
I
question there.
try. On sports, I almost feel like we're a mix of like Howard Stern and like Ryan Seacrest. It's almost like we just try to like do everything at once on sports. I don't know. I mean, I just thought, 18 is a big number. I mean, my 18th birthday, I went to work that day. That was like, I think I got like a shirt. My mother gave me like a Tommy Hilfiger shirt. So hopefully your 18th birthday is better than mine. But then again, that's why I'm here and you're there. But I look at it like it all evens out anyway. Because look, I'm still talking to you. I mean, you're the Blaze Ace Christian, so life can't be so bad right now, right?
Um, you said it, not me.
I
Um,
only kid, ladies and gentlemen. I only kid. I only kid.
but you know, I feel like when I turn 18, it's really gonna go up from there because right now I can only work.
A handful of places.
Yeah, but once I turn 18, the world is mine.
It's this, yeah.
The world.
It's just some of these places. I know in Iowa it's the same thing, in other states it's the same thing, and it's an absolute joke, but we certainly look forward to your 18th birthday, and maybe we'll actually give you a day or something on Sportswire. So I'll have to actually proclaim it Ace Christian Day on your 18th birthday. So you come back on your 18th birthday, and we'll bring you on the platform, and I will give you another certificate. So that will be something that we'll promise to do. Let me get to some more comments because people actually do want to talk to you. Pennsylvania laws are dumb. Even I'll admit. Yeah, I mean these laws. I mean, I don't even know the people that make these laws. To be honest, they have no idea. Do they even watch? Do they know what wrestling is? Do they even watch? I mean, let me say hello to this person. I want to really give them a big shout out. Obviously, hi, how you doing? Nice to see you. I know you very well. And favorite match of your own and to study. That's a good question.
Man, my favorite match, I say, like I'm assuming I've ever had.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
my favorite match that I've had was, I would have to say, either the one with my dad at World War, or the one I had with Ecstatic. I
Yeah.
like both of those matches. But that's a tough question to think about. And as far as favorite match to study, I'm gonna be honest with you. I typically don't watch wrestling. Like, I don't take free time to just sit down and watch wrestling.
You don't have much. Knowing you off off the air, you don't have any time to watch wrestling. You might
I
be
mean,
you might be studying some plays, to hey go long. You might be studying more plays with that.
but I'll watch wrestling. Whenever I'm with my friends and like a group thing. Like,
Sure.
I watch WWE pay-per-views or PLEs with a group of friends, and after recording a VTW, I'll sit down, watch with the guys, rewatch the show. But I wouldn't say I have a favorite match to study because I typically don't watch wrestling on my free time unless it's not to sound selfish, but myself.
Well, you know what?
Uh,
And I got to be honest, I'm not surprised as we are talking with the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, maybe the youngest member of any Hall of Fame, of course, the 2024 VTW Reunion Rumble winner, the Blaze Ace Christian. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here on Sportswire Radio. It reminds me sometimes of musicians, right? So your dad would know because he actually plays in a band. And sometimes as a musician, you don't really sit back and maybe listen to somebody else's music. You're kind of wrapped up in the moment of your own. And I'll also equate it to I have a background working in the world of politics. People all the time will ask me about things. I don't really follow politics. I know how to like do the inner workings of things, like how to do a campaign mailing and target the voters, but I don't really follow it in that room because you know why? Because you're in the world of it. Like in wrestling, for you do so much that you're kind of looking forward to the next match, so you don't
yeah.
stop and take a step back to watch what you've done. So that might be a reason as to why you don't watch as much of your own matches.
I actually kind of lie. My favorite matches to study are my own, and
Okay,
here's why: it's because it's hard to study a match that you didn't wrestle yourself.
fair.
Rather, if you were in a match yourself, you can learn from the things that you missed or things that you could do better on. So I typically rewatch my matches a lot, like especially like the ones I do recently. Like, I've been watching the stuff I did at Enterprise just recently, and there's some things I could have changed. There's things I could have sharpened up a little bit, but at the same time, I did some pretty good things. And I just can't wait for the world to, see who I am.
Well, I can't wait to see it. And I also want to point out that I can't wait maybe one day to call some of your matches live because, on Sportswire, we've actually gotten into the business of doing live streaming. I've actually called some different matches. I actually called a Jack Delta match not too long ago. So, obviously, who knows? And apparently, I'm going to break it here. Chase Wakefield, you know him. He's coming back to Sportswire in a couple of weeks. And I'm actually going to call one of his matches live on the air, and he's just going to sit back and relax and watch. So, who knows? Maybe one day I'll call a Blaze Ace Christian match with you sitting around, and could be interesting there. So that could be something else to ponder. I want to say hello to a man you could be targeting real soon, the VTW World Champion, also the DBW. Believe it's the not World Extreme.
Hub City.
I always get is Asriel? No, World Extreme. No, Global is Cyrus.
Yep.
World is Judgment.
Yep.
Aaron is Hub, and then Asriel is World Extreme.
Anarchy.
Anarchy. World Extreme
champion
is
our World Extreme champion is Jackson Snow.
You know what? I'm losing touch on names. I got to be honest, but yes, hello there, Mr. Jones. Obviously, Aaron Jones is also very, very busy. Maybe he's still what was he now, like 1,060 something days of the world champion down there in Texas or something like that. I think it's like 1,064 or 5 days, whatever. I lost count at this point. But let me come back here to Mr. Nathan. I had my first match a week before turning 18 in Michigan, so I imagine it is legal there. Worth looking into if you haven't yet. Interesting. I didn't know that. That's what you learn here in Sportzwire. Mr. Jones wants to remind me it's 1,200, which, or can I pull that up here? There we go. 1,200, which would now carry the 2 over 3 years. That's a long time. Wow. That's certainly longer than maybe Chase Wakefield thought he's best friends with Aaron Jones.
Probably.
Ace, you may become the next Ultimate Warrior. No, I think you're going to become a lot better in the ring than the Ultimate Warrior, because I think you already do more in the ring than the Ultimate Warrior does ever in his career.
Jeez, that's going a long way, but I appreciate it.
No, but listen, seriously, what did Warrior matches consist of? He runs out to the ring, shakes the ropes, clotheslines his opponent. He puts him over his head in the Warrior Slam. I don't remember, maybe Macho Man Hogan. I don't remember Warrior doing much. What you do in the ring? I mean, literally. I mean, you do like 20 moves in one match, and I don't know if Warrior's done, like I said, that many moves in, I don't know how many matches he wrestled. I was just saying. Let me come back to hello to my buddy, Mr. Ace Reed, also Ace, but he's the host of the Wired Up podcast in the country of Australia, which just had Elimination Chamber. He says hello, and he's got a great podcast out there. He is the BW.
I might have to get on that.
He's a good one. You know what? He's actually a really good interviewer. He's interviewed Jack Delta. He's interviewed Jackson Law. He's done some really good. He's Aaron Blaze, I think, has been on the show. He's got some really good people that he's had on the platform. Check him out. He's got almost 1,000 subscribers. So obviously, yeah, let me see hello to him. I'm waiting. Oh, we lost you. There you go. What are you gonna say? Now I hear.
I was just gonna say, my social media handles are everywhere. So
I'm gonna actually pull that up right here, Mr. Ace.
Yeah, if they ever want to, shoot a message to me, I'm open. So
and Ace, he's a good interviewer. He would be a good. I'm telling you, he's professional. He does a lot better than me. And I even make the running joke that when I say something silly on Sportswire, he'll just take over the microphone and we'll get even better on Sportswire Radio, because obviously, Lord knows, I'm close to being canceled on the platform. It's a joke. I'm joking.
I hope not.
Everything's good on Sportswire. We're doing great. I do want to come back to, okay, we'll talk about the Rumble in a few minutes, but we are on Sportswire Radio. We are here with the Blaze Ace Christian. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters here. And if you're on Sportswire Radio, we have an internet radio station 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, where you can listen to all of our great content on Sportswire Radio. We're going to give a podcast. If you'd like to play live music, or if anything out there you'd like to suggest, let me know. We provide the internet radio free of charge. I do it on behalf of the community. I want to give people a chance to be heard, and that's what we do here on Sportswire Radio. We're also on YouTube at Sportswire Radio 6579 backspace stream. So if you like what you hear from us, hit that sub button. Also want to congratulate the people at Amplified and Enterprise Wrestling, because they put me in their Hall of Fame for some reason. I don't know why they put me in the Hall of Fame, but I really want to appreciate the owners there for their kindness. Obviously, as you were and I were, we were supporting a great event, Fight for a Cure, for little Evangeline for Ewing sarcoma. Horrible, horrible thing that impacts so many people, and we were certainly able to help, and it was a great show. I heard they did really well out there, and I can't wait to talk more about that show coming up in the next few days on Sports, where we got some really great shows ahead to kind of promote the next show there, which I believe is March the 30th. So I want to thank those guys for doing a phenomenal job on putting on a show on behalf of the community, and that little girl but also letting yours truly be a part of it. We're also on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. I'm on Twitch now at Sportswire Radio. I'm on Tumblr and so many other platforms. Check us out. I'll be back here Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time with one half of the XCW Tag Team Champions, the first real wrestler, Justin Parsley. Justin Parsley will be wrestling at Encounters. Right after Encounters, he is here with us. But we are here right now with the Blaze Ace Christian. And the Blaze Ace Christian, there's a lot to get to. So, I think we spoke a lot about some different things. And let's now talk about the thing that everybody wants to hear you talk about, that historic victory that you had a few short weeks ago to win the 2024 versus the World Wrestling Reunion Rumble. And what a victory it was. And, I have to ask you, and I guess somebody just asked it, so I'll do it actually for them and for everybody here listening and watching on Sportswire Radio. The Blaze Ace Christian, talk about, first of all, how emotional it was for you to win that 20-person Rumble that we all took place to give you an opportunity to have a championship of your choosing at any given time.
So, I don't even know where to start with that. I've been working with VTW for a little over a year now, and that's all it took. That's all it took for me to get where I'm at now. And whenever I won the contract, I could have cried. I could have been emotional. It looked like I cried, but I didn't.
Yes, you were
because
like, you
because
looked
I'm
at
a
it,
man.
and then
Because I'm a man.
you are. Didn't I say when I inducted you, now become a man? No
Yep.
more would you call a kid.
Yep.
You ain't a kid no more.
But no, like I could have been all emotional and everything like that, like a normal person would. But here is the thing. Let's put all the fun and games away. Let's put on the serious glasses. JK, I'm not putting them on inside. But no, let's be real for a
I'll
second.
pull up one day my photo with me and like those. I actually have the same glasses as you, and I look like I'm like RoboCop. So hopefully, you look better in them than I do. I actually have the same glasses as you, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
just send me that one. But
I won't.
but
I
anyway.
don't think so.
But on a serious note, though, like I said, I could have been emotional and everything like that, but it's as simple as the job ain't finished. That's I'm not settled with that. Like Kobe Bryant once said, he could have been happy that he won like game, was it 2 or 3 or whatever, but he said job ain't finished. He's got a championship to win, just like me. I got a championship to win in VTW. A contract is not a championship. A contract is a contract. A contract leads me to the championship.
A shot. How does that though change? Does it make me? I don't want to say devalue the moment, but because you won something, but you didn't win something. What do you feel about that?
So, I did etch myself into history in VTW as the youngest Reunion Rumble winner in history. Probably won't be topping that anytime soon.
And one of the youngest Rumble winners in wrestling history, I would also add.
Possibly, I don't know, but I mean, I'm probably the most relevant one. Let's be real. But it's definitely an achievement. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But like I said, it's not gold. It's not championship. It's not a championship. That's what every wrestler should try and strive to win, is a championship, because a championship is almost like, how can I say this? So a championship is almost like a championship in my eyes is almost like a thank you for putting in the work and doing your best and striving
it's an award.
to get where you're at. It's like you did what you went through, all the struggle, you went through all the pain, all the bumps, all the bruises, all the highs, all the lows to get to that point. So in the end of winning a championship, ultimately that's the top prize, and that's what makes it worth it.
Absolutely. And listen, a championship is a snapshot in time of something you did great. It also is something that permanently recognizes where you were in a particular moment. And I think that that's something that's also important. But, I have to ask you, sure, You didn't finish the job. I'll get to comments in a second. I see a few more on the screen. Just bear with me for a second, and I'm going to come to you, I promise. But you have to recognize the fact what you did is also pretty special, leaving aside the fact, arguably maybe youngest Rumble winner in wrestling history, but to the fact VTW is literally, I speak with people off the air, and I'm not going to tell you names. This, I promise you I won't. Maybe off the air, I'll talk to you about it. But in terms of on the air currently, there is people that talk to me from all over the stratosphere, all over in wrestling, from all different states, different feds, and they ask me, VTW, yeah, that's the best maybe product that's going around out there. All these different people from different feds, whatever you might want to call them, they may not get along with each other. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they have a different style, but they all can agree on one thing. Wow, VTW, that's a really good product. VTW, that's almost like the all-stars of where we are right now. And you won a Rumble that wasn't just, any Rumble. You were in there with some of the top names, some of the guys that are professional wrestlers. I mean, it's a who's who of people, aside from Chase Wakefield. But Scorpion the Assassin, Navon McDonald, Asher Christ, Jacob Ryan, Marek, who came back. I mean, certainly ecstatic. Zach Daniels, Tyler Aiken. I mean, you could go up and down the list of some of the big names that are here. Nikki the Gooch. Nikki the Gooch was
The Gooch.
about Nikki the Gooch, right? But Brandon Castelli and how many other Brandon Castelli, references might have been in that Rumble. But the point is that, you can go up and down the list of the roster of names in there. They're all in their own rights. In any other place, they're top guys. They're big deals. And you won it. You won that Rumble. I mean, that's got to mean something, though, no?
It does, all those people in there, with the exception of Zach Daniels.
I realize that. I realize that.
I think he's still injured, I believe. I'm not
You
sure.
know what it is? At this point, I have so many names that I remember on Sportswire, and I realized I kind of flubbed. Just like when I knew, okay, the DBW Anarchy champion is Azrael, and Jackson Snow was the World Extreme because he took it off Havoc. But this, again, I literally all I do is watch wrestling, so I do want to say out there that's my flub. So it happens. What can I tell you?
But with the exception of him, pretty much the entire roster was in that Rumble, with the
Absolutely.
exception of a few. But, like you mentioned, top guys, Jacob Bryan, Ecstatic.
Jacob Bryan, people were saying could win. He was the guy to win it.
A lot of people thought he was going to win, but, whenever you forget about Ace Christian, that's when he steps up and, he takes the spot of the winner. And, oh my God, in the words of Jey Uso, a lot of people probably lost a lot of money not betting on me, you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
Like, you can't count me out now. Like, I was the underdog back then.
You were the dark horse, they called you. They called you the dark horse.
They did call me the dark horse. But, I was the underdog back then. Some may consider me still the underdog. However, you could take that under away because I'm a freaking dog now.
Absolutely. Listen, and that's why I think that to spend a few minutes on this, that, winning the Rumble here, the magnitude of it, because of the promotion that it's in, it's not just any Rumble. I mean, I'm not taking away of anybody who wins a Rumble. Again, look at the names that you were with. Guys, you've been a world champion. You know how this goes. Everybody here in that Rumble, is an all-star. Say what you want about them. They're all top talents. There wasn't, to use what famously, I think it was Sum 41 said, all killer, no filler. There was no filler in the Rumble. There was no filler in any VTW shows that I have seen of late. So that's the magnitude of winning this, is that, yeah, you didn't win a championship. You didn't finish the job. But you know what? You just won something, a part of a company right now that, some might say pound for pound is the best in the scene at the moment.
Like I said, it's an honor, to win the thing, and it's still an accomplishment at the end of the day. It's something that I did.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy about it. I really am. But I can't sit there and gloat about it. I can't sit there and stare at it, because there's something else that's bigger and that's better. Because you see, like I said, after winning the Rumble, the journey, I've been talking about this journey, or I haven't publicly talked about this journey, but people will soon realize, not only in VTW, not only in DBW, but all over wrestling in general, the journey, at least in VTW, starts with that contract. And, there's only two ways that journey can take me at that point. There's only two paths I can go. I can either go for the VTW YouTube Championship,
Wow.
after Christ, to prove, who's the better blood, you know what I mean? Or I can go after the VTW World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, you mean this guy right here?
Yeah, that guy right there.
You mean him?
You
And we saw D-Lock in the Rumble, and D-Lock came up short. And,
guess who
maybe
tossed him out? Yeet. I did.
I was going to get to that. And that was, kind of in a way leading into my next segment. I'm glad you brought that up because, you eliminated arguably two of the people that toward parts of when the Rumble was going on could have won it. D-Lock, obviously, because he certainly wanted another crack at Jones. He had come up short before the Rumble. And then Marek, who I think a lot of people, as the numbers narrowed, thought because of the size and, again, his kind of beef with Mr. Jones and his return to VTW, that he was basically going to be forecasted and declared the winner, but yet you eliminate both those guys. So you know what? I mean, I know you obviously got a decision to make, and there's no reason to make that decision tonight on Sportswire. I mean, if you want to, I would say sure, but I would say don't do it because then somebody will blame me on the air because we don't want that at this point. But the facts are is that Aaron Jones, you eliminated the two guys that have probably wanted his blood right now at the moment.
Yeah, I have a ton of respect for D-Lock. He was the first person after
He fought.
Yeah, he was the first person after I won the contract. Whenever I walked through that curtain, he was the first person to congratulate me. And, he could have, been upset about it. He could have not done any of that, but he did. And that just shows you the type of person that he is. And after I eliminated him, I said I'm sorry, but I had to stand on business, and I stood on business that night. But as far as merit goes, you know what I mean, like, after being in the ring with him,
Oh
just
my God.
after being in the ring, me and him by ourselves, just me and him one on one, you wouldn't have expected me to come out on top. You know what I mean? You
No,
wouldn't have
I'll be
expected.
honest. When the numbers started narrowing, and you got in, we got to the final five. I was like, how is the Blaze A's Christian going to pull this off? I mean, it was really like,
But
we didn't
but the
know.
but the but my next thing with that is, sure, he's a big bad threat. He's going after Aaron Jones' neck. But just like that Rumble, you can't count me out. You know what I mean? And that goes for me holding the contract and picking who I want to face. You can't count me out of who I challenge, whether it be Aaron Jones for the World Heavyweight Championship or the YouTube Championship. I could, start from there and then build up,
Well, some
which
would
is
say that
something I could challenge myself in. But at the same time, if I got that crack at Top Goal, which is what I did with D-Lock, that was kind of like a test to see, what that's like. And I got that taste a little bit, and now with this contract, it's like shark in the blood.
And I think also, and I will get to a couple of comments here in a second. I know we have a few, but I would even add also, you know what? If you wanted to go the YouTube title route, look at what Asher has done with the championship. He had to fight, quote unquote, to reclaim his title after Chase Wakefield was, I guess, the self-proclaimed YouTube champion. And we saw what Asher had did to certainly Nikki the Gooch and also Mr. Wakefield. We saw what he did to Brandon Costelli at the prior show. So, I mean, Asher Christ has just been, you could say he's the measuring stick right now in VTW, not Aaron Jones. So if you wanted to go down that route, you certainly would be very viable to say maybe that's the route I want to go. Or again, Aaron Jones, because of the fact that, it's the world championship, but also you eliminated the two men that probably right now want him the most. And that says, you know what? The Blaze Ace Christian, you're the guy maybe it's your chance, but you have no reason to do anything right now. You can just sit back and just, pick your spot, pick and choose. That's what was said during after you win. You could basically, bide your time almost.
Like I said about the win, you can count me out. You can say what you want about me. You can just keep doubting. But at the end of the day, that's just gonna make me stronger. And that's what happened at the reunion rumble whenever I threw two of the top guys in the company right now, at least in the the world title picture, let alone the company in general. I I threw two of those guys out,
And two
and
guys that might be two of the top guys, period, in the sport. Again, VP,
uh, that's me. That's me, bro. Let's
I'm
not. Let's
saying
not.
though
Let's.
too, but you can arguably say that anybody in VTW is an all-star.
Oh,
So
oh yeah, for sure.
that's why the ramifications of what you did and to hang on there. Let me ask you one more question before I get to comments. I know people want to talk to you, but how were you able to hang in there as long as you did? What was it that propelled you to keep in there that long?
I just stood out of the way. But no, like on a real note, though, like I did stay out of the way for a little bit, but when I felt the time was necessary to use my energy and like when I was like staying out of the way, I was preserving my energy. I was trying to throw some guys out. Jacob Ryan's a big boy. I tried to
I
throw
know
him out
Jacob.
there,
I've seen
but
him in BBW also. I mean, Jacob Ryan's a very big guy,
I didn't have a good crack at that one, so I had to go after a little someone, a little more
and
my size.
you technically do have credit for an elimination of Asher Christ as well. No,
I
technically,
mean,
I
I
mean,
do. I mean, you ain't wrong about that. So,
technically, I mean, I know it's kind of like, boy, you're really stretching it, Tom. But technically, you technically eliminated Asher Christ, so that's another feather under the cap. I mean, no,
I mean, it is definitely. He's the world champ. He's not the world champ. The YouTube champ.
he might
My
be the
fault.
measuring stick of champions in VTW, if you want to phrase it that way. You
I
know, you
mean, I
you
didn't
could
say
say
it.
that.
I
No, no,
didn't.
no, 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 no. You could say that, but we're gonna hang on to that. I got a bunch of comments here. Ace Christian versus Nicholas. Hey, listen, never say never, never say never out there. Infinite Justice. The Warrior was exciting and had the character, incredible look. Technical wrestlers and always put butts and seats and eyeballs on the screens, but the Blaze Ace Christian, he does both. He
How
does
you doing?
both.
How you doing? How you doing? You know what's up. You know what's up.
Yeah, yeah, we know who that is. Okay. All right. Before I come to somebody special, do you have a favorite style of match? Because Ethan certainly, he's been one of my loyal listeners. Do you have a favorite style of match
Favorite
that you
style
wrestle in? That you wrestle in? How about that? Favorite type?
that
Do you have?
oof, favorite style like what? Like stipulation
Could just
or
be any. What do you like to wrestle in? Do you like to wrestle? Let's say, I don't know, maybe just a straight up match where it's just submission based. Is it a mat? You're a high flyer a bit. Do you like to wrestle a match that be, let's say, falls count anywhere? Do you like a no disqualification? It could be whatever you want. I mean, you're the
you
Blaze Ace
know,
Christian. You're blazing your own trail.
uh you know, I haven't actually thought about that, but going
Okay.
off the top of my head, I can say, I always grew up, wanting to be a brawler and like you know, someone that always used to do power moves. But I couldn't do that when I was younger. But now I can use that. I can
Hey,
do
I
some
was
of that
watching
stuff.
the telecast. I mean, you certainly got more muscles than Chase Wakefield does. I'll tell you that much now. You got
Yeah,
it.
he ain't got no power. He knows what I'm talking about. But now like now that I really look at the big picture, I can, use my high flying that I've always done along with the power moves and the brawling. And maybe even I might even look into doing that technical stuff. That's something I want to enhance this year as well as my technical wrestling. So once I craft that, you never know what kind of wrestling you're gonna get from me. You know what I mean? Like one day I might be, your little lucha libre, you know what I mean? Or I could be, your power guy, I could throw Chase Wakefield around, you know what I mean?
Well, you know what? He's going to be back on the show in a few weeks, and I'm sure he'll say something as he usually does. But I know one thing that you are certainly becoming what they would call in baseball a five-tool wrestler, meaning you can do a number of different things. That's only going to make you a stronger wrestler. But somebody that I am always proud to have on the platform wants to congratulate you. And before I do that, I actually want to pull this off the screen so I can let his comments show up on the screen because, of course, I am wearing his shirt. The destructive Jack Delta would actually like to say, congratulations on the Rumble win. I hope you dethrone Aaron Jones or whoever the champ is. You've got a long career ahead of you. Some big praise by a man he's walked maybe millions of miles, some would say, in this sport. It's pretty
Yeah,
impressive for him to say that.
I mean, in your eyes, he's two of the top guys between
I
me
think
and
he
him.
is.
So,
I think what this
so
man
I
has
mean,
done.
if you really, if it's the case, you know what I mean, that your dream match, me versus Giant Delta. I mean,
Well,
I'm not against that.
well,
But, I mean,
can I say? Well, you know what? Well, I'm really trying to bite my tongue here. Well, I would love to see you in Jack Delta somewhere. Now, I don't know if that would be in DBW. I don't know if that would be in VTW. I don't even know if that would be, let's say, if there wasn't a way and a time and place that Sportswire Radio got involved in the world of wrestling. No, I don't know yet. I'm not at liberty to say what may or may not happen, but if there was a possibility on that route, certainly if yours truly is in charge, Ace Christian and Jack Delta is definitely at the top of the list of matches I would like to see. I don't know where that'll take place, but yeah, you damn straight that would be a dream match of mine. Yep, you damn straight. Yeah,
um,
I know. We're both trying to bite our tongues here. I know it's frustrating. We're live on the air. People are waiting for me
hey,
to say
all
something.
I'll say is this: whenever our paths cross, whenever it happens, I'm just gonna stand on business.
Okay,
So that's
you
all
know
it
what?
is.
I mean, I certainly am a big fan of your work. I'm a big fan of Mr. Delta's work, and I am wearing his shirt, obviously. And I have a DBW shirt actually right on the floor. I should have put my DBW shirt on, but I forgot to put it on. I know, bad move on my part, but don't worry.
Hey, hey,
At least it
hey,
wasn't a
hey,
Chase Wakefield shirt.
hey. Yep.
Good point. Good point. But yeah, we'll have to see. You never know. Listen, Mr. Delta, wherever he might be, wherever we might be, you might be, those are great points. So VTW, let me ask you this. So you win the Rumble and changing gears to DBW here shortly. Let me phrase it to you like this. If I were to say to you that this winning the Rumble, kind of in a way makes up for the second half of 2023, where sure you joined Ego, you were in VTW, but in terms of maybe the lack of success that you had toward the second half of the season in 2023, this Rumble win almost puts all of that in the rear view mirror and kind of makes up for everything that you went through a little bit. Is that a fair statement for me to make?
It is a fair statement, yes. I hate to use the term, but new year, new me. You know what I'm saying?
Why not?
Uh, but you know, after that match, looking back at it, I faced Ecstatic in VTW
Yes.
before the Rumble. I lost my first match of the year in VTW. I had, brand new, got new case, I got new gear and all that stuff. I was,
And a new
I was
haircut, by the way, I may want to bring up.
oh, hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh,
Still, you know what, though? It still looks better than the Robert Pearson haircut.
no comment. Look back
He's
real
coming
quick.
on here very soon, by the way. He actually specifically messaged me. I shouldn't say this, but Mr. Pearson, you may say, was so kind that he actually he messaged me and he actually showed me a photo of his hair right now. So that was kind of, I mean,
Uh,
he got the message, Robert Pearson. He got it loud and clear.
um,
Yours looks
but
not that bad, by the way. It looks okay. I'm
yeah,
okay with it. I'm
yeah.
okay with it.
But I lost that match with Ecstatic. I was feeling really good about myself before the match, and then I lost the match. I could have had a lot of momentum going into the reunion rumble, but I didn't. I could have, like I said about the contract earlier, and where I want to be. I could have sat there and stared that loss in the face, or I could have used that loss as motivation, go on to reunion rumble, win the rumble, and then have myself a new goal, which is what I did. After I lost that match, it was a tough loss. It honestly was
It was a
because
hard fought
although
match too, by the way. Very hard fought match.
it was truly was, but although there was no stipulations, nothing on the line. It was just a simple match. I mean, it did a lot to me because I want to start off the year right. I don't know why I
You know,
did
I
that.
noticed on shows on Sportswire lately, I'm seeing that pop up. I mean, but I'll take it at this point. Whatever works,
Oh
whatever
well,
floats your boat.
but like after losing that match, I look back at it a little bit. I didn't stare at it in the face. I just, I could have done this better. I could have, done some things differently. However, I knew that there was another goal that I had to do. There was another mission I had to accomplish. There was another thing of business that I had to attend to. And you want to know what that business was? Go ahead,
Uh,
say it.
Robert Pearson haircut.
No, no. Come on, Tom Brace. I know you're
Wh-
better than that.
What? So we're
The
not talking
reunion
about.
rumble. The reunion
Oh, the
rumble.
Rumble, winning the Rumble. Yes, I was gonna say
Yes, yes.
I was
That
hoping
was
it was, but I was hoping it was the Robert Pearson haircut to look get the photo and the inside scoop. But yes, obviously you took what maybe you learned from the loss. Yes, to use a football term, maybe you know a little bit about that. You basically learned from the loss
Mhm.
and you figured out what you need to do to adjust yourself to get back in the game, put the helmet back on, and go out there to be able to get the job. And that's how you win to play the game. You play to win the game. And that's exactly what you wound up doing. Yes, I know. I was just playing around. Come on. I did kind of want you to hear something about Robert
Come
Pearson's haircut. Because I got to be honest, I've been talking about this for 2 months and I'm terrified to see him on the air in a few weeks.
on. Dude, if it was in person right now, I'd be dabbing you up right now. Come
You
on.
probably would be. And I wouldn't blame you, by the way, because I do earn it.
Ugh.
But certainly winning, listen, you used what happened and you learned from a match to get to where you are today. So obviously, let's come back though to circle where things didn't work. And no, your hair looks okay. I did say it on the air that I thought your haircut wasn't too bad. You look like one of the Beatles almost. Maybe it was the Beatles influenced haircut.
I used to listen to Beatles.
It was George Harrison's birthday actually on Sunday. So you never know. Listen, so that's a point to be made. And George Harrison actually died on Staten Island, where I live currently. He actually died in Staten Island Hospital back right around just about this time 22 years ago. But we're not talking about George Harrison. We're talking about you because you're going to have a bigger run in the world than George Harrison did in the wrestling world. But, DBW, you do win match of the year. You win contract signing of the year. So conversely, let's talk about that because we know DBW didn't end the way that you would have hoped. Can you use these awards that you've won as we're getting ready for the season in about a month or so from now? Maybe a little longer than that, whatever it might be, you get the point. Can you use those milestones to help you and Ego maybe have a better start of 2024 than 2023, how it ended?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said about VTW, we as a group have to look back at the losses, look back at the things that we did, and like Roland Havoc once said in after World War, maybe we gotta shake things up. Maybe
Yep, you guys had the
so,
big meeting and everything,
yep,
and
maybe some things just aren't meant to be. And that's just how life is sometimes. Some things just aren't meant to happen. But that's why you just gotta get up, brush your shoulders off, and move on to the next.
And speaking of Ego members, I actually have to break it here live on Sportswire Radio. Speaking of your colleagues in Ego, we have Mr. Austin James himself coming back live to Sportswire Radio in your chair next Tuesday, a little after 9 o'clock Eastern time. So we're going to get his side of things when it comes to Ego, what the future might be, and I'm going to ask him some of those same things. So we're going to have more Ego to talk about. Now, you're certainly going to have a little bit more of an ego these days because you've got the 2024 VTW Reunion Rumble win for the Contract for Any Championship, also being named Match of the Year contract. Although obviously Ego was named, I believe, Team of the Year.
Yes, they were.
Still points are Austin. See, I remember everything. And Austin James will be here, though. He's going to talk about different things. So let me ask you then, in DBW, what would be the goals this year in 24?
For Ego as a whole,
Could be for you, could be for Eagle. Obviously, we know we lost the tag belts. Havoc lost the World Extreme title to Jackson Snow late in the year.
Hmm.
You were trying to get the tag titles back, didn't work. Obviously, Austin dealt with injuries. Collins certainly was trying to figure out where he stood in the group. So then there's certainly the group has had some adversity. The first half of the year, the group was firing on all cylinders. You had joined the group. It seemed like it was going to propel you guys right back to where you used to being. But now it's kind of a time you guys have had to reflect. And, as I said, you guys have had these losses. So, I mean, maybe where does the group go from here? And where do you go from here in your goals?
There, throughout any journey, there's always going to be highs. There's always going to be lows. But at the end of the day, you know, ego, you know, we're brotherhood. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's gonna. I hope there's nothing that's gonna separate us. Whether it be all these losses, all these championship losses, and that's called adversity, like you talked about. And you're gonna need a little bit. You're gonna need a little bit of that to get back on your feet. Um, and that needs to be a goal. With all these losses, you need to look at it and just I'm tired of this. You know what I mean? I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of, you know, not making these opportunities count when they matter most. So whenever you get those opportunities, you gotta strike.
You guys are going to certainly, I know, have a lot on your mind because you lost a number of different things, and the group's had some certainly shakeups, and we'll see about those things. We're here for about 15 or so minutes with the Blaze Ace Christian, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. He is our 47th member, seventh member of our fifth class, also arguably the youngest Hall of Famer in any Hall of Fame's history, and also maybe arguably the youngest Rumble winner in any wrestling history's books out there. So those are all great things. If you want to follow the Blaze Ace Christian, you got a couple of different ways here before we get to a few other thoughts. And I cannot find my mouse, but now you're about to find it because that's the beauty of the worldwide internet. You've got Ace Christian on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Ace_Christian1, Twitter, The Real Blaze DBW. Follow this man, like, subscribe, get in touch with this man. He is the future because the future is now because he is the youngest Rumble winner in history in my book, and he is the youngest in the history of VTW's reunion in their Rumbles. And he is certainly a man on a mission. And I want to say a little another young talent up and coming who's going to be back on Sports by Radio very soon, Mr. D'Angelo LaFlame. And of course, Mr. LaFlame is a huge part of things over in Tennessee for Resurrection Wrestling. And he's also another high flyer, energetic guy. And we're certainly happy to see him on the show. We'll get him on here real soon. So obviously, we're coming ahead toward the end of the show. It's been an impactful one. Obviously, you're in our Hall of Fame. We'll put this back up on the screen before we get to a few other thoughts. So, when it comes to, let's say, anything else, VTW, anything else that's on your mind, I mean, certainly you have to, I would say, not be so thrilled with the way things are going with Aaron Jones these days. Now he's running things in VTW. You've also got other things to consider in terms of what you may want to do. But, anything else from a VTW standpoint you'd like to talk to the audience on?
Well, after winning the Rumble, there's some things that had to be said. There's some things that had to be known within excuse me, VTW. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed in VTW. Um, not only with the contract win, not only with the VTW fan base, but with the VTW roster, including our lovely champions, the YouTube champion Asher Christ and the VTW World Heavyweight Champion Aaron Jones. They must be addressed by me. You're a contract winner of 2024, your youngest VTW Reunion Rumble contract winner of all time, Ace Christian.
That's
So,
for sure. You're certainly blazing your own trail, a brand new trail. Let me ask you one quick question on the two of them. Have you kind of analyzed in your head maybe the pros and cons of either, or are still kind of, basking in the glory of this Rumble win?
there's going to be no cons. I don't think negatively about situations. I only think positively. Why do you think I make those videos on Facebook? Because I want to be positive. I'm not a negative person, so I don't like to think negative about anything. I
But there
always
might
look.
be a con and say if you don't face one person over the other. Not so much in that, but you have to choose somebody because you can't go against both. You have to make one choice. That
Well,
was more of my
ultimately,
general.
at the end of the day, God, right here.
Oh, I'm
Um.
a reverend, so you speaking to the choir. I'm a reverend. Actually, I actually am a licensed reverend here, Universal Life
Oh,
Church. Yeah, I
okay,
actually am. Yeah, I actually
okay.
got asked. I won't say it. Somebody actually asked me to actually oversee their wedding, and I couldn't find my certificate. So I'm like, "Does this work?" And they're like, "Well, okay." So yes, I am actually a licensed reverend. So you can go ahead. God is good here on Sportswire. We're good with that.
But God leads me to the paths in VTO, like I mentioned earlier. And ultimately, whatever decision I end up making, I know will be the best one for me. So no matter what the negatives or ultimately the positives are of either decision, I'm not looking behind whenever I end up making that decision on who or what championship I am cashing in on or when I cash it in on. So that's all that's said about that. But I'm not gonna give out too much information
I
about.
said it on the air. I say it over and over and over to wrestlers that have come on over the years on Sportswire, whether it's overseas or here. And whatever you do, don't tell people what you're going to do because it's going to go back to the peanut gallery and everyone's going to know about it. So that's a smart move. Let me ask you, though, before we get to closing thoughts, I feel like I've been talking about forever DBW coming back. I think it's now been officially, a little over 2 months since Merry Mayhem. And I have to ask you, I mean, how excited though are you to get back out there for DBW here later this spring?
Ooh, I'm excited. I can't wait to debut the new gear there. Because I've wrestled it everywhere else but in DBW, my home company, my first home, and I wouldn't even say VTW is a second home. From a good friend of mine, he said it is home away from home. That's what I refer to VTW as, and home is home at DBW. So, with that being said, I can't wait what's in store for me in DBW, whatever opportunities arise for me this year. But at the end of the day, I'm East Christian, I'm the best at what I do, and I like to think that I am the best at what I do. But like I said, whatever opportunities arise for myself, I'll make sure to capture them rather than squander them. And even if I do squander them, you know what I mean, brush on the shoulder, on to the next.
What was it Jay Z said? Dirt off your shoulder, dirt off your shoulder. Basically, there you go there. But is Jay Z still in your generation, or is he like kind of
I
like
believe
past?
so.
All right, all
I
right.
think
I got
so.
that one.
I'm
I
not
got
sure.
that one right. That was good. It made me feel a little bit better. But you ever stop back and pinch yourself and say, you know what, VTW is for a lot of people pound for pound the best company out there in terms of wrestling, and DBW's like maybe like I don't know if it's number two, but maybe is number two. I mean, you've got pound for pound two of the best companies, and you work for them, and you're like a top guy. Do you ever kind of pinch yourself and say, you know what, right now it's pretty cool that I'm working for two companies that a lot of people all over the place I talk to say, you know what, I want to go to DBW, I want to go to VTW. You ever kind of pinch yourself and kind of reflect on that?
I actually don't until you said that just
I
now. So,
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
but when I think about it like that, it's where people want to be because of who is inside that development. And you know who's inside that development?
Blaze
This
Hayesworth.
guy right here. Yeah, that's right.
It's certainly not
The
Chase Wakefield.
newest member of the Sportswire Hall of Fame. That's right. And the winner of the 2024 Reading Room contract. And whatever DBW has in store for me coming up
Hey, you were
soon.
2023 match of the year, contract signing of the year.
Yeah.
So, a lot of things ahead. I think you will be in the PWI 500 soon. I think that you'll have championships
No,
ahead.
you don't think. I will be in the PWF
I do
500.
actually know that. No, I listen. When I said it in my speeches, you're a master of ceremonies. Yes, I know you'll be in the PW 500 because I watched you in the ring enough to see what you do. It's not to me about wins and losses with you. And that's why I think that the rumble that you've won is going to really propel you to places maybe that will lead you to the PWI 500 because just of your move set, what you've done. And I think that you've matured even from like when I first spoke to you 7 months ago. I actually think that from when you came on here the day after Labor Day, so that's actually just about 6 months. I've known you for 7 months. So you basically went from where you were then to where you are now. And where you're going to be in a year from now, it's going to be like we're not even going to recognize you. That's why I kind of think it's really the right time to get you in. And I think, again, before we sign off, you're a part of two companies that pound for pound, two of the best out there. Guys talk about all the time VTW and the production set, the graphics. Now you guys are indoors, the roster that you have, all the big names that are here in VTW. I think that speaks volumes to also you being a huge part of these things. And before I say hello and goodbye to different people, I want to say hello before we get to closing thoughts with you to, obviously, I think you might know who this person is. Ace Christian, congratulations at VTW. You're truly a bright star everyone needs to watch. Thank you for our time in the squared circle. I think you might know who that person is. UWF New York, kind of winking a nod.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know them all. I I've been up there a few times
Yeah, you
before.
have.
Um, I'd like to go up there. Eventually again soon whenever they start them back up. Um,
NUW is also right around the corner, I know, and they're still, I don't know how NUW still keeps going, by the way. I actually started watching their product not too long ago. I knew of it, but now I'm watching it. I'm like, wow, these guys were still, they kept going, huh?
yeah. But I appreciate the support, and not only from them, but for all you and yourself, Tom Bryce. It really does mean a lot, and I feel like I need to recognize that more because that's why I keep going. Like literally, the fact of knowing that I have people that say these things about me, positive things like you're gonna be in the PWF 500. You're gonna be on TV. You're gonna do this. That's why I do it. Like I could have chose football and
You're a
calling
very
them.
good football player. I mean, you certainly could have went the route of being a college football player and, got a scholarship. I have no doubt, and maybe tried, the ranks. And I've interviewed a lot of college athletes. You have a lot of the tendencies of guys that I know, and you're talking to a guy that actually cut his teeth in the college sports world that still actually has a lot of, contacts in that world. And, you would have fitted in very nicely somewhere and, had a great football career, I have no doubt. And, you would have propelled that to great things. But I think in the wrestling world, that's your home. I think your home is the wrestling world.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what I think too. Because like I said before, you know, God makes these decisions for me, and wherever I go to, wherever I end up going, is the right decision for me. And I believe
Absolutely.
that wrestling right now is the right decision for me because I got all the support in the world for wrestling. So yeah,
I think that you hit it all on the head before we sign off and get to closing thoughts. I want to thank Ethan Sorensen. Thank you, Ethan, for your support. I want to say hello to a man who just finished his own show, and he had the ESW World Champion. Yes, the ESW, Mr. James Taylor of the Nemesis Sessions. And by the way, James Taylor, you got to interview the Blaze Ace Christian because the Blaze Ace Christian is the youngest Rumble winner in history. He's the 2024 VTW Reunion Rumble winner. He is also the youngest Hall of Famer, I think, in history of any Hall of Fame of any sort. And he is on Instagram and TikTok at Ace_Christian1. You must follow him and you must get him on the Nemesis Sessions because Ace has a really Ace-like story. He is certainly blazing a trail that I think very few people in this sport are going to. And you might as well want to get him on before, well, let's say, we'll never know him again. He will be in the PWI 500. We'll see him wrestling all throughout the United States and going along that route of being a very successful independent wrestler and going into, places where he'd like to be. And I think he's got a unique story, and he's also had a background in other things. And I think that Ace Christian would be an excellent addition to the list that have come on the Nemesis session. So Taft Taylor, Taft_Taylor on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I would hope that James Taylor, the Nemesis, since you are in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame alongside the Blaze Ace Christian, that let's see one Hall of Famer talk to another. And I hope that you can make that happen real soon. Because after all, you got the ESW champion, but I'd rather have the Blaze Ace Christian than the ESW champion because the Blaze Ace Christian works for pound, for my money, the best company out there around in terms of just the whole 9 yards. You got the production, the graphics, the roster, the storyline, the flow, all of it. I think even VTW right now is better than some independent wrestling companies out there. That's how highly I think of VTW. And I want you also to follow VTW because I have not given them enough of a plug tonight. And I want you to follow VTW on a couple of different ways here. VTW Wrestling on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you check them out. They're on TikTok as well. I also want to give a big plug to our friends at Dominant Breakout Wrestling. And guess what? Facebook, Dominant Breakout Wrestling now because we changed the back Dominating Breakout Wrestling, Twitter at DBW Wrestling, and if you want to own a shirt like I have in my DBW shirt, bonfire.com backspace store backspace dominant minus breakout minus wrestling. Make sure you get your DBW shirt because DBW is another one of my favorite companies out there. They've got nearly 4,000 subscribers on YouTube, about 3,600. VTW is going to be at the 5,000 range real soon, quicker than a New York Minute. And you want to follow those great companies because they support us. And it's always about all wrestling matters on Sportzwire Radio. So make sure that you get in touch with those companies and to support them because it's always about all wrestling that matters here on Sportzwire Radio. And also, does James Taylor? Does you know who he is? What do you know James Taylor? He wrestled in tennis TBW. Okay, fair enough. Well, maybe that we can make exchange of contacts. And Kid Mike wants you. Maybe he wants you in Amplified or Enterprise. Or if you're going to be there
Oh,
soon,
hold on. Let me
yeah,
say
get
something
that.
about that.
Good, good,
So,
good.
Kid Mike,
Yes, Kid Mike. We
you,
had him on here
you,
last week
you
in your chair. Yes, Kid Mike, the SSW World Champion. Yep, that's him, the World Champion.
he's also the Enterprise World Champion as well.
Well, there you go. He's here. I mean,
Hey, you know what I mean?
Murder City Hit Squad, by the way, wants to come into DBW, and they said a lot about you last week on the show. They said a lot about ego. They certainly didn't think you guys should have much of an ego these days to go around with. They say that, listen, Havoc is old news. They say that Austin and Colin, they're certainly on their losing ways, and they kind of think that after what Judgment did to you in DBW and everybody else, that, you can't hang with Van Hansen, the new attitude of Van Hansen. Of course, his very good buddy, Mr. Kid Mike. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, all I gotta say is this: when it comes to Ace Christian versus Kid Mike, I have two shoulders that are pretty empty right now, and you have an SSW World Championship and an
And
Enterprise World Championship, and there goes that thumb again. But
well, you
anyway,
want to be a
the
world champion.
the
That's why
the
you gave the
the,
thumbs up. Duh.
the point is, if you the a double champion challenging me, that's what it says about me. But if you want to challenge me, we can always sign that papers and let me know when you want to do it up so I can take your titles, flex out the titles that you carry around your shoulders so that way I can carry around my shoulders. You know what I mean? So if that's the challenge you want, that's on you. But at the end of the day, I'm taking that dub and I'm standing on business.
Well, you know what? You've been a world champion before, and you know what it takes. And Kid Mike was very impressive in his debut to Sportswire Radio, and he's coming back here between now and the next month. And Enterprise and Amplified are certainly two of my favorite companies out there. So if there's a will, there's a way, and SSW ain't too far behind. So you know what? I would love to see it. I think the audience would, and that'll be something to choose for us. Stay tuned. And I think that's our segue as you're sneezing to get to closing thoughts. But before I do that, he says, let's sign it for EPWAW Power Hour, which, by the way, is debuting this coming Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, I believe, on the Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling YouTube channels, if I believe. So that's a clue for things to come. I don't know. But,
Whatever that is, sign me up. Whatever, dude. Let's
that's
do
what
it.
we're doing on Sportswire. We're certainly making waves and we're blazing our own trail. Like, ladies and gentlemen, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. In our Hall of Fame, even before he can go out there and drive and go out to vote, the Blaze Ace Christian, our newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, also the youngest, I think, Rumble winner in wrestling history, certainly the youngest VTW reunion Rumble winner. And it's time now to give you closing thoughts. I know you're a busy man, obviously, on this historic day, and congratulations. Thank you for all you've done and being a huge part of all wrestling that matters. And I'd like to give you the floor, my friend, and anything else you want to say before we say sayonara until next time, and fire away.
You know, After all that's been said, I feel like I haven't been able to talk about how much I'm thankful for this certificate too. by right. But you know, like I said, never had happened to me. Never been presented to me before, so I truly do appreciate it, and I'm humbled for this. And trust me when I say you guys will not be forgotten in my mind, because you've given me the floor to talk and all that stuff, and your hospitality is amazing, and your support is amazing, as well as the fans that are watching and that don't even know who I am. So it's truly an honor, and like you said, it's not goodbye. It's till next time.
Until the next time. Yep. It's just a stop on a journey that you're going to have a nice road to. It's going to lead you, like I said, to the PWI 500 and maybe other championships like the SSW title, the Enterprise. We'll have to find out. But until then, you want to follow Ace Christian on Facebook at Ace Christian, Instagram, TikTok, Ace_Christian1. Twitter at The Real Blaze DBW. Also, please support DBW and all the great platforms. Also, support our friends at Enterprise and Amplified Wrestling. Also, VTW. I could not stress enough. VTW Wrestling. Watch their product. Like I said, it's better than some pro wrestling products I see out there. And practically, these guys are pro wrestlers because it's literally, they're like the all-stars of everybody I've seen out there in different places. And my friend, congratulations. Thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for this opportunity to induct you to make history. Thank you for all that you've done out there and being a part of all wrestling that matters. And I can't wait to see you here once again when DBW is ready, revved up and ready to go. And keep up the great work and congratulations. And I'll see you soon. And thank you for all you do, my friend. And God is
Thank you
good.
so much. Yes, sir.
Amen.
I'm good. Amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Blaze Ace Christian, who is blazing his own trail. He is the newest member of the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, the 7th member of our 5th class, alongside the Nemesis James Taylor and so many other greats here on Sportswire Radio. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you're going back to your regular scheduled programming. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, I'll be back here Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. to be announced if I'm back here tomorrow. I don't know yet, but you'll find out sooner than a New York Minute. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio. If you're on YouTube out there, hit that sub button for us and tell your friends, tell everybody else. And Ethan Sorensen, thank you for that last question. We'll certainly get back to it next time. And also, I want to say hello to those that are out there in different platforms. Thank you for your support. Join us anytime. Hit that sub button. Check us out on Twitch at Sportswire Radio. Hit that sub button there. Facebook, Instagram, knew it. You know it. Go do it all. Thank you. Where all wrestling matters. And I'll see everybody. Have a great night. Until then.